Welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 275. Today we are going to talk about how to review VODs, a checklist for going through them, cold showers, how to trial friends for a team, and applying sports psychology to medical school. All right, no real big announcements for the day. Just that the show is kind of restarting, second consecutive day of it. Seems to be progressing along very well. Probably going to be doing it around this time. So if you want to watch the show live, it's going to be around 10 a.m. in California time. And that is like evening in Europe. And then after that, the stream might continue. So please do check in. And I have two big requests today. One is to help me re-kick off the stream. So come to the stream. 10 a.m. LA time. And the second one is I forget what the second one was. What was my second request? Oh yeah, I need more questions. Call in questions to the show. We're open for business again, which means I need you to go to anchor.fm/Weldon Green. You'll see the URL on the answer slide of the, like when I get to the answers of these questions, there's like a little thing down there that says, here's the URL for the questions. But anyway, it's also, I think, below the YouTube video. Make sure to go and submit your questions so that I have questions to fuel the show. They are the firewood and the fuel and the oxygen that keeps the show running. And so I need your questions. I'm going to get through for today and we'll be caught up in a few days here. And so I need a new supply of your queries. And without further ado, let's jump into question number 1 from Austin.
Hey, Weldon, appreciate all the YouTube videos you do. They're very helpful. Appreciate it. My name's Austin, and I'm an assistant coach on a Call of Duty amateur team. And my role as assistant coach is to help the team review their own VODs and help them realize what they do wrong. And I feel like I go online, I look up how to VOD review correctly on a Call of Duty game. I feel like there's not many videos out there. So is there any, tips that I should go through? Like points I should go through during a VOD to check off and okay, comms, gunplay, positioning. I don't know if there's more or what I should look for. So if you could help me out, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Well, I am not going to come to you with a perfect checklist, but let's start out with a big picture, which is that there's an infinite amount of stuff to review after every game and to go through when you're doing a VOD with a team, right? So let's say that you have 30 minutes to look through a VOD, and it's a game that you just played. The most important thing is to be able to review VODs directly as soon as you have played them. Essentially, the learning moments in the brain come closest to the mistakes that are being made. So you can have days where you VOD review and you're looking at other pro teams' games and games from yesterday or that you played a week ago. But I'm going to assume that we're talking about the games that you play. You play a batch of games and then you go and you start reviewing them. You need to create some sort of, I would say understanding of what the biggest problems are. So when you think about the things affecting the team, what are the things that if you changed or improved would affect outcomes the most? For example, is it a particular person's movement during a fight? Is it a particular time in the game when comms are just really, really bad? Is it a particular person's aim? Is it their strategy when they're the last? When it ends up being a 3-way fight? What is the thing that you and the team can agree on that will move the needle the most if you get it right, or is the thing that is going wrong that is having the biggest impact? And then you essentially just VOD review that. Touch on some things that people did well. What I like to do when I'm watching through the games live is I like to just note down things that people are doing really well that they have not been doing well before. So it's kind of like a positive reinforcement thing. Hey, this is something that you've been working on. Now it's showing up. Hey, this is something you've been working on. Now it's showing up. And you show in the VOD, go back to that point and show look, this is a live view of the thing that you were practicing that we said that we needed to get better at. You got better at it, and here it impacted the game, and we won it when we wouldn't have. We won this engagement when we wouldn't have. You had this when you wouldn't have had it, or it went smoothly when it wouldn't have went smoothly. So just it's a good way to showcase that people's effort is always moving forward, that you have some forward progress. So spend a little bit of time on your forward progress to give everybody that kind of motivational momentum. Then you get to the cutting stuff, which is, okay, we're going to just watch the single person's perspective, and we're going to watch like what he does wrong here, and his team's going to criticize him. So I would say, there's no good answer to this question because there's so many different styles. Mix and match is your best bet. You want to keep it fresh, and you want to keep people not bored with VOD view. You could do hot seat, for example, where everybody watches a single person, like I just said. But the main idea here is that you need to identify first the worst parts of your gameplay, and you need to basically just fast forward directly to those mistakes, look through them, and then open up the floor and either ask the team like what's going on and how to improve it, or teach them what it is that you want them to do. I hope that was helpful. Think of it more like an art and less like a solved system. The difference between how it is that you do VOD review and how it is that a different coach does VOD review is going to be the difference between your coaching and your coaching quality. It is essentially that skill that determines the coach. And you should think of it as like how good am I at identifying the 4 to 5 moments of the game during the game live? How good am I as a skilled coach at identifying the 4 moments that we must VOD review, and then like taking the team to those moments and getting them to learn something out of it? And there are no rules about like what that is, other than, is your team going to win more than the other team when you're done VOD reviewing with them? Or is your team going to win more than the previous version of them when you're done VOD reviewing them? Is it going to have been a waste of time because the things that you covered are irrelevant to their winning the game? It might help like a little bit with improvement here, or maybe grease the wheels here, or maybe it makes them sound cooler and look like they're working more effectively, but it doesn't actually help them win more because actually the comms weren't the thing holding you back. It was literally just the aim of this one person on your team. So think about it from the perspective of like, where can I put my weight on the lever to make where can I put the fulcrum on my lever to make it so that the weight that we have can actually like move the needle in our gameplay. All right. No big real announcements other than that we might be back at it with Mind Games here starting up. I'm going to be starting to see if we can stream regularly at this time. So make sure if you're watching this on YouTube to check out twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon, and check out the mindgames.gg website if you're interested in the program. And let's go into question number 2.
Hey Weldon, good to see you back. What do you think about cold showers every day? Do you think that's a good way to build up mental toughness when I'm not training? Thanks.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. Take a cold shower every single day. Highly recommend it. All right. Yes, I mentioned the Mind Games program. The videos are still up, meaning that you can sign up for the beta and you'll still get access to the video program. The first week of the actual app is live. The app is a progressive web app, so it works on the web. It also works on your phone. It's not installed through the App Store. It's just installed through the Safari browser, the Chrome browser, whatever browser you go to. Hopefully now that we're settled in this new place and I can get the stream back and running, I can find some work time to record the rest of the actual videos as application content, and then we can get that thing running. But be sure to check it out if you haven't before. I've had a lot of good positive feedback on how it has affected people's play and people's lives. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Moving on to the third question. Make sure to take cold showers, please.
Hi, Weldon. My name is Kevin. I have a situation for you. My friends and I are starting an amateur league team, but we have 3 friends trying out for support. How do we give them an equal opportunity to try out when all of them have varying schedules due to school, work, etc.? When do we eventually draw the line and pick a support? We've been doing this for a week now, but I think we may encounter a problem where a lot of us don't want to step on our friends' toes and tell them they're not good enough, including me. We could really use your coaching experience for this one. Thank you.
All right. First question you need to ask yourself is, do you value your friendship more than the game results? If that's the case, then find a way to make everybody happy. So if you think that this little tournament of League of Legends or whatever that you're going to be playing in is not going to long term, like in the 5 to 10 year span, make that much of a difference in your overall happiness and in your life and in the hobbies that you're doing. But if you think that your friendship with these people is going to really matter in 5 to 10 years, then index on friendship over placement on the team. Meaning that, like, find a way to inhibit or lower your current rate of success or happiness for long-term value of the relationships that you treasure. And that means that, like, playing with all of them on a rotating schedule, or putting it up for a vote between the 3 supports that are all playing, making them look at each other and then vote for the person who they think should be on the team, putting it to them, for example, or finding a way to recruit and form 3 teams that are all of the friend group, so that there's like, and split up your main team so that there's there's not an A, B, and C quality team, but just like a bunch of three teams that are being fielded for memes, or something like that. So that is the answer in that direction. If the answer is like, no, we really want to take this seriously, and actually it's no fun at all if we're just kind of like not in it to win it, and so let's just like be really simple about this and pick the best player. Yeah, then it really comes down to emotional intelligence, right? It comes down to how well you can understand each of the people that is trying out and what is the best way to say to them that they were not chosen. And sometimes that's going to be over a nice personal date, at the caf or over a meal. Sometimes that's going to be like in a game, in a group setting. Sometimes that's going to be in a private setting. Sometimes it's going to be over text. It's going to be as a meme. Sometimes it's going to be as a serious thing. You really need to understand the people that you're talking to, and find a way to mollify them in that you like them as a person, and that this has nothing to do with your evaluation of them or their effort, but just their finger speed currently at this point in time. And you don't really know, let's say, about their rate of improvement. You're not making any judgments on that, right? Make it as little judgmental as possible in terms of identifying who and what they are, because the pain in these kinds of moments comes from the discrepancy between how people see themselves and how other people see themselves. So you want to essentially make sure that the merging of the realities between how it is that they actually are and appear to be to other people and how it is that they see themselves, that harsh merging moment of judgment is kind of like as soft as possible. Now, that's not true in positions where you want people to learn or grow or improve or get with the program. You don't need these moments to be soft. This is just when you're protecting friendships that you value. So don't think that this is like a kind of like an answer to all of life's problems. Sometimes people need to see what's up in a very square way and have a jarring realization that the way that they perceive themselves and the way that the world perceives themselves is like not lined up, and that those two lenses need to be like capitulated very quickly. But in this case, I think that the analogy is apt. So make sure to send in your questions, anchor.fm/Weldon Green, and then there's a message button there. Let's jump into the last question of the show today from Tommy.
Hey Weldon, this is Tommy from Texas. I love the show. I was wondering if you had any advice on how to apply sports psychology to fields such as medicine, where we need to study for prolonged periods of time without any feedback mechanism apart from practice questions. A few other questions are, how often should we be using practice questions? And what are the mechanics of actually studying? Just reading, reviewing every few minutes? I honestly find myself trying to be as efficient as possible, but kind of getting stuck in the mechanics instead of actually studying. Thanks again.
Yeah, first of all, sorry the slide had the wrong content on it, but the basic idea was, how do I use sports psychology for medical school testing and study? If I think about it, I think that sports psychology contributes to 3 main parts of testing. That is like the actual test, so lowering anxiety and increasing flow state, basically making sure that you're like not having performance anxiety during the actual test. maybe a kind of like productive self-confidence during the studying period or the learning period, where you're not doubting yourself to the point where you are incapacitating your ability to study. You're doubting yourself enough that you're grinding, but not doubting yourself to the point where you're desperate in your attempts into study, which is kind of related to self-talk and goal setting and understanding how you are as a learner and what your goals are and how much work it takes to get there. And then the final aspect that sports psychology contribute to testing and testing prep is in the focus aspect, where there's literally focus training is a large part of what we do for the performance setting, but that also applies to the studying context, even though we're stretching this out over many, many, many hours per day compared to like a single 90-minute soccer game or something like that. All right, so let's start with the concept of study. Essentially, you would compare how sports psychology prepares people for practice as to how it is you would prepare for studying for the day. In practice, you have a lot of unforced injuries, in that you have an injury where you just twist an ankle or something and it puts you out for 4 or 5 games. Sports psychologists want to minimize those. One of the ways we minimize those is by helping people set aside their life, get their mind focused on what they're doing. And that's done by going through rituals such as the locker room, prepping, warm-ups, mindfulness sessions where you essentially like work on calming the insanity of your mind and what you're thinking about with your finances and your significant other and the stove that you forgot to turn off or whatever. And you bring yourself completely present to the pitch, to the field, to wherever it is that you are, and you commit to essentially like focusing on those skills right now and not whatever chaos is going on in your normal everyday life. So the same thing would apply to the studying context, where you want to put yourself on an island of mental solitude. That doesn't mean that you are not in chaos. Let's say you're in a loud area, instead of the library, but it means that your mind is not mired in the chaos of your everyday life. And you can do that in the same way, through rituals, through self-talk, through mindfulness before you get going, through having a sacred place that like puts you in that zone, whatever it is for you. And then for performance anxiety on the test, I think that that's pretty straightforward. You rehearse, and then you work on your breathing. I think that probably breathing and posture is going to be the most important thing for test taking. And of course, rehearsal. So try to get the rehearsal as true to the real world scenario as it can be. When you do practice tests, like do it at the same time that your test is going to be, in a similar setting that your test is going to be, and with a similar time frame and punishment for like running out of time. So you don't just like do it on your computer late at night, and then like stop halfway through, pick it up the next day, and give yourself the ability to go back and fix errors afterwards and write them off. You do it the exact same way that you would do it in the real setting, and that essentially prepares your brain for that setting. And then when you get there, the cortisol levels are just lower, just straight up lower than they would be if it was your first time running through it. And then the final thing is the whole concept of not really self-confidence. I don't want to say self-confidence, right? But belief. If you don't have the belief in yourself that you can study and learn this stuff and that you're going to pass the test, or that you're going to learn the material so that you can help people, then you need to look at examples in your life where you have accomplished that before, build up that understanding of how it is that you have studied and learned things in the past, and trust the system. Trust that you can learn it, trust that you can study it. If you have failed studying before, then you need to innovate. You need to say like, okay, why did it fail me before? Was it just because I wasn't motivated? Was it because I had a crappy system? Was it because I was always distracted with friends? Is it because I'm a massive procrastinator? Whatever it is that led to your downfall, always think of, okay, it's going to be different this time and I'm going to innovate in order to keep that forward momentum. Whether it's real forward momentum or not, it's valuable in and of itself. All right, so that's my answer, Tommy. I hope that you are safe in Texas. This question came in long before, probably like end of last year, right? December-ish. Long long before the current disaster had struck Texas. I hope that you were safe throughout it, and I hope that this question doesn't come too late. I know that now you're probably doing school in this coronavirus-style online setting, and hopefully that ends by the next fall term, and you guys are back on campus wherever you are, and you can apply some of these tactics in your home setting. It's going to be a lot easier to study and a lot harder to practice test in a like a real environment. If what you're going to be doing eventually is a real test in a proctored room, but you can always try to emulate that in your kitchen. It's not the worst. Or you can go find a government building that is open for business, and you can find a corner that looks fancy-ish with marble around it and pretend you're in like a fancy classroom with a lot of other people taking a test, and then see how it goes. All right, that's the show for you today. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/mygamesweldon, 10 a.m. I will see you guys next time.